All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right. As you can see, it's me and Big Phil. My boy Big Phil, who is filling in for Logan Landers, and Frankie is taking a sabbatical right now. Big Phil, man, it is glad to have you back. For those of you who don't know, let me give you a little short synopsis. Me and Big Phil were in the Army together. Phil was the guy who came up underneath me, and then I taught him a couple of things, and then he went on to strive for bigger and better things. And now I can say he is Staff Sergeant Philip Tross, my brother, the man that sounds like the State Farm commercial. Say what's up to the people.
The one and only. Hey, brother, thank you for having me on, man. I look forward to talking some juicy topics with you today, man.
Good, because I'm going to need a lot of expert knowledge from you because, as we all know, you can take what I know about the water sports, take it down to the local thrift store, and you might walk out with a dustpan and broom at $1.25 because you know the dollar store has gone up in price. Now it's $1.25. Yeah. It pays to have women that know these things, Phil. You can't go to the dollar store and expect to spend $1. Now it's $1.25. But
look, I'm not even allowed to go to the store. I'm not allowed to shop, man. That's all wifey right there.
Hey, I know Janae just got that promotion, so she's probably living in Big Moneyville right now, making more than all of us. And I know she's on her way to that pink Cadillac, but you don't know Philip Tross's wife works for Mary Kay, and she's on her way to be the next international or national sales director, whatever, the one that makes that big six-figure salary. So Big Phil about to be even bigger. She says, "Show me the Quan." You showed her all the Quan.
Look, I've been on my best behavior for Valentine's, trying to get a good gift, you know.
Hey, you better give her something good. Hey, let's jump into this, man. Listen, we got Super Bowl weekend literally within 24 hours from now that's about to come upon us. I am excited. I'm stoked. I'm ready for it. I think we got two teams, quite honestly, that come from different makeups, different backgrounds. They each had their individual storylines. Oh my God, you could write a novel about how Matt Stafford come from nothing, where careers go to die in Detroit, built Megatron into a single season record holder, damn near built Cooper Kupp to take over from Megatron. Just everything. People were down. Could he throw the long ball? Could he get the accuracy in the big time situations? And he did it. He did it against the GOAT. He did it against everybody, right? The 49ers, the whole nine. Now he's in a position where he's never been in before. He's in the Super Bowl. Going up against another great storyline and Joe Burrow. The guy from Louisiana, or actually from Ohio, goes to plays at Ohio State, then goes to Louisiana to the Big L, gets his famous championship down there under Ed Orgeron, and he played with the boy Jamar Chase. Now they're in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase and Burrow. Of course, Burrow, blew out his knee, damn near tore every damn ligament in his body, and then so I don't really count his first year. His first year was not. It was nothing. It was maybe a game or two, and then he blows out his knee. So I really look at, and it's unfortunate for the awards ceremony, they can't consider this year his rookie year because it really is his rookie year. And a guy goes from being rookie year to a team that should do nothing under Zach Taylor's leadership. 3/4 of the team now under Zach Taylor built, and we're looking at him in the Super Bowl. How crazy is that, Phil?
Man, so honestly, this might be one of the first Super Bowls to where you can root for anybody, right? There's no negative, there's no villain, you know.
Right.
Matthew Stafford, he tore it away on the horrible Detroit teams. And I'll give him some of that blame because yeah, he had Megatron, and that might have been all he had. But I mean, if you're a great quarterback, right, you're supposed to elevate the team around you. But that's a whole different conversation. But great storyline, like you said. Matthew Stafford goes to the Rams. Sean McVay, wonder kid, you know, now he's in the Super Bowl. Then conversely, right, you go to Cincinnati, like you said, that Ohio-born, Louisiana-bred, Joey Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Man. You know, how can you not root for a kid? A lot of people are calling him the next Tom Brady, not because of his talent, but because of his intangibles. He's definitely supremely talented, but he's also supremely confident. I haven't really seen a quarterback like him in a very long time. I'm 28 years old, so yeah, I've been live for the Tom Brady era, but Joe Cool, man, he's the epitome of cool, calm, and collected. So as a Louisiana native myself, I want to see the hometown kid do good. Like you said, you have Joe Burrow on the team, Jamar Chase from LSU, Thaddeus Moss from LSU. You know, so it's a few guys from the hometown team that I want to see do good. But who wins? Whew, it's tough,
No,
man.
don't say yet. Don't say yet.
I won't
I'm
say
not
it.
to give you a prediction just yet because I got questions to ask you, and then I'm going to ask you for your prediction. But don't give all the goodies away yet, Phil. Hold on to some of it. Hold on now. Hey, listen. First of all, quick one, just super fast segue. Can Brian Kelly at LSU bring you guys back to glory, or is it just, or is he going to bring the Notre Dame BS? I call it because they are in their own conference and make up their own schedule. Can Brian Kelly really be the guy at LSU?
I'm glad you said that. Abso-freaking-lutely. Look back, right, at Notre Dame. He hadn't had a losing season, right? 10-3. See a college football playoff championship berth. Got smacked by Alabama, but they made it to the big game, right? Now he's taking that same structure, that same organization, and bringing it to a franchise that really needs it in LSU. While we reached major heights under Ed Orgeron and won a championship, he's more of a rah-rah recruiter, players coach, right? It's the reason why we didn't have success after 2019. He's not a good X's and O's guy. He's not a good organizational kind of guy. He couldn't manage that team and rebuild it after the exodus of all the talent we had in 2019. So now we got Brian Kelly, who smartly, right, he hired recruiters. He hired people who have Louisiana ties, right, and they also came from winning programs. So, for instance, he hired about 2 or 3 guys from Georgia, the wide receivers coach, another analyst or two, right, but they have ties to Louisiana and they come from winning programs, right? We hired what I believe was Clemson's, Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator Matt House, right, coming from a winning organization. He knows what his limits are. Brian Kelly knows that he doesn't have any Louisiana ties. He doesn't know that landscape. So he's putting people in place to help him succeed. He's going to manage this. He's going to manage the team, and the recruiters are going to recruit. The players are going to play. I have absolute faith and confidence in him that we're going to make it back. I'll give him about 2 years.
And I agree with it. And I think that, like you said, to your point, you know, the people that he's brought in are going to help him be beneficial. I just have a hard time thinking that a guy comes out of the independent league and then is going to come into the biggest stage of the SEC and then come to one of the bigger schools, LSU, and implement what he's been doing at an independent into SEC at LSU and thinking he's going to have that large of success. But, hey.
And see, but it's for that reason right there that he's going to have success, right? He went to independent. Think about how hard it is to recruit at Notre Dame.
Right.
Look at the demographic where they're located. Look at the academic rigors of Notre Dame. Not saying that any other school in the country doesn't have the same level.
That's true.
But it's hard to recruit those 4- and 5-star guys to come to South Bend. Who's coming to South Bend? No one's really coming there. You know, they're going to Miami. They're going to Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State, LSU, right? But now it's an even playing field. And now he's one of the Louisiana is one of the only states that is talent rich and has his own Power 5 team in the same state. If he didn't want to, he wouldn't have to recruit anywhere outside of Louisiana if he didn't want to. Now, obviously, Texas, right, Florida, that's where the talent lies. But we're a hotbed for talent, man. Now it's time to just lock down that state and go to work, baby.
The only thing that I should say it's not the only thing. The only thing that it is kind of concerning is I look at the recruiting class of this year. Obviously, A&M took it. I think Bama came in, I want to say, at number 2, and then there's a few other guys that came in after that, I think Georgia and so forth. LSU did not have. I mean, LSU had a good recruiting class, but they weren't in the top 10. So I think in order for Brian Kelly to be successful, and he will be, it's only his first year, so we got to pause on that a little bit. He's going to have to really get into those living rooms of these top recruits and really build some of these top recruiting classes. And I think that's what's going to propel him under the system that he's running, right?
So we definitely started off slow, and shout out to Frankie and Logan. I know you guys couldn't be here, but I'm gonna hold tight for you guys. But right, so look at it. We started off slow, and Ed Orgeron, I love him. Ed, he's my guy, Louisiana guy, brought us a championship. Salute to Ed Orgeron. But with those 2 losing seasons and the way that his tenure ended, it kind of hurt us in recruiting. But before he left, we made sure to lock down Walker Howard, 5-star quarterback recruit from Louisiana. Will Campbell, 5-star offensive tackle from Louisiana, right? We locked down some of those core guys. So when Brian Kelly came in, he was able to hit the road running. And what we wound up doing was snagging the number 1 linebacker recruit in the nation from Texas A&M and Harold Perkins, right? He was a long-time A&M commit, and he recruited the A&M on national signing, not national signing day, but during the early signing period. So we started slow, but then we finished with a top 10, top 15 class when it was with our transfer. Oh, and by the way, Jason, we had the number 1 transfer class in the nation. So, I mean, we started off slow, but I think Brian Kelly, he's coming in, he's reinvigorating the state of Louisiana. And he's also known for top-tier offensive linemen and top-tier tight ends. So like my man Ed Orgeron said, we coming, and we ain't backing down.
Hey, and by the way, Frankie, yes, Phil loves play on words. And when you say Phil and then filling in, he's just ecstatic over that, man. He loves that kind of stuff. All right. Hey, listen, we're gonna side shift a little bit from the LSU conversation. And we're going to – oh, by the way, I know you like the A&M Aggies, man. You know them boys. Them boys about to be the truth.
Let me respond to John Rucker. He said if Jimbo doesn't make the playoffs this year with the best class ever, he will be on a very, very short leash. Honestly –
that's true. That is true.
They had a 10-3, 10-4 win season last year. But before that, he was sitting in purgatory ever since his last championship at Florida State with Jameis Winston. That was like what? 2011, 2012. So what has he really done for any of his teams since then, right? The reason why I'm upset with Jimbo Fisher is because he sat there on live national television and lied by saying that the NIL had nothing to do with that top recruiting class. Now, what I will say is the school itself, right? While the school itself, Texas A&M, might not have had anything to do with that NIL deal, but those boosters, right? That group of business people in Texas A&M, they definitely had something to do with that. So Jimbo Fisher, I get it, right? You don't want us to discredit all the hard work you guys have put in over the last few years. But that NIL, man, money talks, right? Money freaking talks. Y'all signed the best recruiting class in the nation. Y'all better do some work this year, man.
I'm gonna give you a question right now. And I don't want you to answer it right now because I'm gonna get this answer from you in the final comments. But the question I want you to ponder as we go throughout this show is the NIL is now branching out, really starting to branch out now. These schools, especially BYU specifically, and there will be schools that will follow BYU's model and they will do the same thing, is that now they're starting to be almost like an agent in a way for these players and getting them deals. And I wonder, is it a good thing that the schools now are able to, because they're kind of perverting the NIL thing a little bit and acting as their agents and doing things like that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And I want you to ponder that. Just think if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And you can choose the player's perspective, you can choose a school perspective, or you can go both. Is it good for this and bad for that? I mean, I want you contemplate that throughout the show, and in the final comments, we're going to come back to you, and I want to get that answer. But right now, we're going to segue. We're going to segue, and we're gonna work into this Super Bowl part of the show. And let me do my slide here. If I don't mess it up. There we go. All right, come on now. Oh, no, 1, 2, 3. Super Bowl 56 predictions. Let's talk about a little Super Bowl 56 predictions. And specifically, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to give you my very short because I really want to give you the maximum time to give me your long version of what you think, Phil. Because I know you're great at broadcasting, and that's why I got you on this show. I want your opinion. How will the O-line for the Bengals withstand the likes of an Aaron Donald and a Von Miller? Given the fact that they gave up 9 sacks to Tennessee and 1 sack to Kansas City, they actually did improve. From Tennessee to Kansas City, they limited it from 9 to 1, But now they're getting ready to go probably against one of the best defenses they're going to see in a Donald, a Ramsey, a Miller, and so forth. How do you see that playing out?
It's tough. And honestly, the trenches is going to decide the game, man. The trenches is going to decide the game, absolutely. Because from an offensive standpoint, right? From a skill position standpoint, I would say the teams are comparable, right? You can say that Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback or whatnot. I don't believe. I think he's a very good quarterback. Nothing throughout his career has said, "Oh, I'm elite," but he said very good. Joe Burrow, and only his second season, right? Really, you can say his red shirt freshman year, right? He's proven to be a very good quarterback. Jamar Chase, right? Cooper Kupp, Tyler Boyd, OBJ, T. Higgins, right? Van Jefferson, Stoney Michel and Cam Akers, Joe Mixon, right? Very comparable offenses. So it's going to come down to can that Cincinnati O-line stomp that Rams D? And on one hand, I want to be rational. On one hand, I want to root for my guys, but how do you stop Aaron Donald, right? He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year this year, but he was still the number one. He was still the greatest defensive player in the NFL this year, period. How do you stop that man, right? How do you stop Von Miller, who's had somewhat of a career resurgence, right? And then if they're doing their jobs, Ramsey's going to feast. So it's tough. It's absolutely tough, Jason.
And I'm really glad that Frankie brought that in because I had actually left him off of the questions, but that's a really good question. The question is this, Phil. You get a guy like Weddle who comes in after being 2 years on the couch. Now, kudos to Weddle, number one, because I will tell you this, Phil. When COVID hit, before COVID, man, I was a lean, mean, 2% fighting machine. But then COVID hit, and we couldn't go to the gym like we did before. And then the wife's cooking set in. And then all I know is I went from 2% to like 18%. And I don't know how you do it when you go 2 years on the couch, and part of that is in a COVID time frame, and you come back in and you're just game shape, ready to go. The man has contributed in every single game that they played in on defense. I mean, he's there. He's doing his job, and he's doing it like he never left the game, Phil. So much so that Sean McVay gave him the green dot and said in the Super Bowl he will be the defensive signal caller. What do you think about Eric Weddle?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, right? Yeah, he's been at home for 2 years, but once an athlete, always an athlete, right? Now, I would say some certain positions I'll be scared, right? Let's say if our offensive lineman was sitting at home for 2 years and I brought him back for the Super Bowl, I'll be nervous. That's a lot of weight on them legs, and he hasn't been working out very much. But Weddle, he's a safety. He's a DB, and he's a proven veteran. Everywhere he's been, especially Baltimore, he's been a stud. He's well respected in the locker room, and some things you can't teach. You can't teach intangibles, right? You can't teach instincts. And so I think for him, it took him a few games, a few weeks, but he's really turned it on, and he's really shown that he still has something left in the tank for this big run. Kind of to Frankie's point, and I don't know if I'm making this point for him or not, but like when Joe Burrow, when he's under the race, he does seem to play better. But he shouldn't have to play better under the rest. He should be able to sit in that pocket and be a precision surgeon, right, and hit his guys. So, again, it's going to be tough because he's shown that when he gets hit a few times, he could bounce back up and turn that swagger on, and now it's go time. But he's going to be getting hit a whole hell of a lot, Jason. a whole hell of a lot. And
I agree with you. And so much so that okay, look, you got Anthony Price chiming in with the question is, who's going to be the Super Bowl MVP going to be? Now, Phil, I know you probably earlier saw the interview, or I should say the show that Shannon Sharpe had with Skip Bayless about Aaron Donald or Matt Stafford, who's going to be who's going to be the best guy on the field. And Shannon Sharpe's point was that Aaron Donald is the best guy in the NFL on defense. He's going to be the best guy in the Super Bowl. And Skip Bayless is saying, well, Matthew Stafford is the MVP. And who would you rather have, Darnold or Stafford, if you're choosing who's going to be on your team? And, of course, the logical answer would be Matt Stafford because you got to have 75% of the ball touch is going to go to the offense. But just because you're a valuable and important part of the offense doesn't necessarily mean that you're the MVP or, I don't know. I mean, because you can say the guy can go out there and have the game of his career. But then if Aaron Darnold's not doing his job, especially like we saw in the Kansas City game, and I believe it was the Buffalo game, I believe it was with Cincinnati. Cincinnati can blow you out too. If you give Burrow time, he can blow you out. So if Aaron Donald doesn't do what Aaron Donald does type things, then it doesn't matter what Stafford does. So I think, what do you think? Like, who do you think? I mean, who do you think somebody's Super Bowl MVP? Given what Shannon was saying about Darnold and what Skip Bayless is saying about Stafford, and of course we haven't even brought in Burrow or Mixon or Jamar Chase, the Rookie of the Year offensively. Cooper Kupp. I mean, there's all kinds of ways we can go with that. So, in your opinion, who do you think would be the Super Bowl MVP coming out of this game?
Well, first and foremost, I love Undisputed. So whenever Uncle Shay talks, I listen, right? But to your first point of your question, you're absolutely correct. Aaron Donald can be the best player in that Super Bowl, but not win MVP. Now, I was trying to find a good parallel, and the closest I could find was really when Denver played Carolina in the Super Bowl, and Von Miller won MVP. But that's a tough parallel because his quarterbacks were Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler, so he didn't have to work too hard to outshine those two guys at that part of their careers. But who would I want? So who would I want? Do I want Darnold or do I want Stafford? In this day of age of football, I want to go with quarterback because, again, it's an offensive-driven league, and the league is so wide open. You got quarterbacks throwing the ball 50 times a game, right? And Donald, he gets double and triple team on almost every single play. So while he's still a monster making plays, it'll be easier to shut him down as opposed to stopping Stafford from giving the ball to a playmaker and letting him run 80 yards for a touchdown. Right? No matter how far he throws the ball, whether he throws it 5 yards or 10 yards, the yards after the catch counts towards his stats. So to that point, you have to go QB. Now, as far as who's going to be the MVP of the game itself,
don't give me this yet, because if you said that, then you're going to give away your prediction. And I'm not going to let you do it, Phil. I'm not going to let you give away that golden nugget, because that golden nugget keeps our viewers listening. So you hold on to that golden nugget, because whoever you say the golden nugget is, if you believe it's the quarterback, well, you're going to give two answers with one answer. So we're going to hold on on that. We're going to hold on. And I don't even want to look past Von Miller, because just like John Suggs said, Von Miller was the last defensive Super Bowl MVP when he was on the Broncos over the Panthers on Super Bowl 50. So we don't know what Von Miller's going to bring to the table.
But see, that's what I was saying. But again, the reason why that's a tough parallel to today's game is because the quarterback play was subpar as opposed to this game, right? The quarterback play in that game was Cam Newton, who got freaking neutralized by that defense. And again, you had an aging Peyton Manning, you had an inefficient Brock Osweiler. But in this game, you have Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow, right? So it'll be a little bit tougher for those defensive players to win those honors. But I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
All right, we gotta listen. These comments are good, by the way. Frankie, Gridiron Yuki, John Suggs, Anthony Price, you guys are killing the questions. So good content. We appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. Who will guard Jamar Chase? Me personally, Phil, I think you're going to have to double team Jamar Chase because of his speed and athleticism. I think you got to put I don't know if you want to put Patrick Ramsey. I think you got to put Patrick Ramsey on T. Higgins. I think I'm going to put the quarterback on Jamar Chase, and I'm going to bring the safety down and double team Jamar Chase with that cornerback. I think double coverage on Jamar with the safety, and then put Patrick Ramsey on T. Higgins. I think that would, for me, would be a good combination. What do you think, Big Phil?
So it's tough, right? I don't believe the Rams are going to have they won't have the opportunity or the flexibility to double any receiver, and that includes Tyler Boyd and the tight end Thaddeus Moss, right? And the reason why I say this, and I got this from Undisputed, by the way. So they were saying that Jalen Ramsey, he doesn't start games off shadowing the best receiver, right? He kind of sits back, stay to his side, and kind of watches how the game unfolds. And as a certain receiver starts to heat up, then he goes to that receiver. But what do you do if Jamar Chase heats up, and then T. Higgins heats up, and then Tyler Boyd heats up? You're going to flip-flop the whole game? So he's going to have to make a business decision. All right, I'm going to lock down Jamar Chase. He's the most dynamic. He ain't getting nothing in this game. But if you do that, the rest of the guys are going to feast. And let's say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to double one of these guys. If you double somebody, you're leaving someone else open. And we're talking about the big three at wide receiver, right? We are forgetting that Joe Mixon, he patterned his game at the prime Le'Veon Bell. Joe Mixon patterned his game at the prime Le'Veon Bell, and Le'Veon Bell was a heck of a pass catcher for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Mixon is the truth. Joe Mixon is, so now you got that option in the backfield. Who are you going to cover?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
They're gonna have to get pressure up front with those four linemen to even have an option of who they can cover, who they can double and not double.
And Gridiron Yuki made the same point you made. He's like, if you double team Chase, well, you got like a plethora of other options you got to guard as well. So I get it, Big Phil. I get it. And that's why I think this is going to be such an amazing defensive task for both sides of the ball,
Anthony,
for both reasons.
Anthony Price says, the Rams wide receivers that got speed, you might have to double them to Kupp and Jefferson. Not to discount that, Anthony, but Cooper Kupp ran a 4.5, 4.6 at his combine. Has he gotten faster? Probably, but if you're talking about speed, the speed and the explosion sits around with Odell Beckham Jr. and Van Jefferson. Where Cooper Kupp does his damage is with his route running and his release.
Yeah,
he gets off the line, he finds the open zone, and he's giving you a 1-2, and he's gone, man. So it's
who was a poor man's Cooper Kupp though, Phil? You know who a poor man's Cooper Kupp is?
Yeah,
was Buffalo's Cole Beasley. Used to be Dallas Cole Beasley. He's like a poor man's Cooper Kupp. Great in the slot because they both play the slot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Cooper Kupp plays the slot, right? They both play the slot, and they both make great catches, and they both go over the middle, and they both are just tough as nails.
The biggest difference is, according to the NFL site, I believe they have Cooper Kupp listed as 6'6'1". But
and Beasley's a lot shorter than that.
But I believe that Cooper Kupp is closer to like 5'11", 5'10". You know how the NFL and NBA lie about their heights. I believe he's closer to. It doesn't really matter, but he's closer to 5'10" and 5'11".
Real quick, Big Phil, let me ask you this. I'm going to get your opinion on this. McVeigh just recently came out and said, kind of sort of hinted that he's pondering his future. He says he needs to start prioritizing his family. We all kind of know where that is. Big Phil, you know how that is with your family and your career. I mean, it's a lot to put on you. Especially when, like Sean McVeigh, you get the whole entire organization pretty much right on everything you do. So is this the last dance for McVeigh? Number one. What coach, McVeigh said he will not coach until he's 60. He's 36 right now. He was joking about the 60 thing. So I don't know how serious he is about coaching until he's 60 or not coaching until he's 60. He also said he's trying to figure out the whole work-life balance thing. He's also getting married and he wants to have kids. And he's also having thoughts, and he's even had a couple offers, if I'm not mistaken, about becoming a TV analyst and going down the John Gruden path where you get a Super Bowl and then you become an analyst, because obviously that analyst pays you pretty good money, depending. So there's a lot of different things I think that's going to weigh down on McVeigh. What do you think McVeigh is going to do, in your opinion, Phil? Do you think if he gets a Super Bowl this year, do you think he hangs it up in a year or two and goes on and becomes a TV analyst? Or if he doesn't get a Super Bowl, do you think he tries to continue to hang around until he does get one, or until LA is tired of him trying to get the one, considering that they're all in with their picks, their money, and everything else in between? What do you think, Phil?
That's an interesting question. I haven't really pondered that much. It's weird because even though he's been in the league for a while, him and a couple of the other Wonder Kid coaches came from that that Shanahan tree over there in Washington. But he's still fairly young, right? And I apologize to my comment section. He's maybe either 35 or 36, maybe. That's incredibly young to be a head coach in any sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for him to be able to leave he would have to win for me to even consider him possibly leaving the Rams, because he's in LA. You're playing for one of the premier franchises, right? You molded that franchise into your liking. Why would you leave? Why would you leave now unless you're worried about being able to maintain that roster because you sold all your first round picks and you can't pay everybody? That's the only reason why I would see him wanting to leave. But again, I feel it, right? Be home with their family, but he's incredibly young, man. And in a day and age where most head coaches don't get their first job until their 40s, mid 40s, early 50s, it'd just be a head scratcher for him to leave right now, unless there's some, extenuating circumstances. But again, I can't knock the guy.
I'm gonna give this question to you, Phil, because I do think it's kind of important. The Rams not having their tight end in Higbee, how important is that going to be? How much you think that's going to affect the Rams not having Higbee?
The only reason why that would be a major impact on the Rams is if they use Higbee as a blocking tight end for a lot of their packages. The reason why I say that is because you do have Trey Hendrickson, who came from the Saints last year, who had about 10.5, anywhere between 10.5 to 12 sacks this year. So he's coming off of the edge. He's looking for blood. So if they wanted more blocking to protect Stafford, then that'd be a big blow. But if he was just another receiving option, Nah, man. There's only one ball, right? He can only throw the ball around but so many times. So I don't see that being a major move. But we see Gridiron says, Phil, what are your thoughts on Michael Thomas coming back to New Orleans? Do you think they should just cut him? Oh, nah, we shouldn't cut him. I mean, at least that's tough.
It is a tough one because they got salary cap and they got financing issues. Like, you love Thomas. Thomas is a great wideout, Phil. But at the same time, what do you do?
Put it this way, Yuki. Put it this way. And I'm not going to speak too much about this because I'm not very knowledgeable on this. I don't want to ill will on anybody, but it's going to depend on what happens with Kamar, right? His situation. If for some reason he gets suspended or he doesn't come back, it's an absolute must that we have Thomas on our team as a receiving option because we don't have anybody that's proven right now. But as far as if I had a choice in a perfect world, should we keep him? I haven't seen that guy play in about 2 years, right? I'm getting rid of him, but I need something in return. I don't think we're going to get market value for him because, again, he's been injured and he hasn't played in a while. So I think the highest we can get for him is maybe a couple of second-round picks, which, again, is not bad because you can find diamonds in the rough. But I want that man. I want Michael Thomas on my team because he's a good security blanket for any quarterback that you have back there.
I'm going to answer this question, and Phil, you chime in on this. Is Winston due for a raise? Well, you know what? Here's the deal on Winston. Winston was being really well groomed by Sean Payton, but Sean Payton has now decided he wants to retire, which I still think is a BS move, Phil. I think he wanted to retire because he knows that their cap is strapped to the gills at like $60-some-odd million, and I don't think he wanted to fight that ship. So I think he said, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm going to retire, have a nice life. And I don't like that about Sean Payton. I'm very upset about how Sean Payton left the New Orleans Saints the way he left them, especially in the middle of a development of a quarterback like Jameis Winston. I felt like he owed a little bit more to Winston. But on that lighter note, he did develop Winston to the point where Winston was really showing some really good promise with the New Orleans Saints to the point where they were actually looking like really legit playoff contenders up until the point where he got hurt and they had to rely on Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian, which we all know the Siemian and Ian Book projects are out the door anyway. So really got Taysom Hill. So what do you think about Winston? If you want to comment on Sean Payton, you certainly can do that and let me know how you feel about Sean Payton leaving you the way he left. And then, do you think that Winston, I personally think Winston, if he can stay healthy, he needs about another year of really staying healthy so you can see a full year's worth before you decide to give him the pay raise that he most likely would deserve if he stays healthy. What do you think, Phil?
So I'm gonna hit both really quick, right? So as far as Sean Payton goes, I kind of don't blame him, man. Like, think about it, right? You can only take with so much heartache, and I can speak to this because I'm a Saints fan, so I've been there when we had the bags of our heads, right, in our stadiums, right? But between the league screwing us, between botched tackles, allowing for touchdown, like it's only so much heartache you can take year after year after year, especially during those last few years of the Drew Brees era when his arm was considerably weaker than what it normally was, right? It's tough, man. And even though the last 4 years we've had winning seasons and we've won our division, take away the last 4 years, and we had about a good 4 or 5 year stretch where we're only winning 7 or 8 games, man. Right? We're only winning 7 or 8 games, and that was included with the year that the Panthers went to the Super Bowl and Cam Newton won MVP. Right? It's been tough being a Saints fan, man. It's been tough. And Payton, I truly believe he's done everything he can to keep Drew Brees at the top of the league as far as performance-wise and keeping the Saints relevant. Because even with all those 10-win seasons, 12-win seasons, the league was not giving the Saints no respect, man. The media wasn't giving the Saints no respect. So I think Sean Payton just needs to take a second, take a break, man. Spend time with the family, clear your mind, and really determine: do I have more left in the tank? Can I really contribute to a franchise? So we'll see about that. But as far as Winston goes, I truly believe had Winston not got injured, we would have been in the playoffs right now with the potential to play for a Super Bowl. We were 5-2. He had 13 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions or something along those lines. We were balling, man. Our defense was playing lights out. The first game of the season, we crushed Aaron Rodgers. Crushed him. So I do believe that Winston deserves a second chance as far as raise. Unfortunately, he's going to have to prove himself again. It's just the nature of our business. But I think Winston, man, he got a fair shake, right? Yeah, he threw 33 interceptions 1 year. But guess what? Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions his first 4 years. But yeah, he's considered the GOAT now. So that's all I'm saying.
So Frankie's getting really antsy because he wants to see our prediction because he wants to know if our prediction is the same as his. Frankie, we're gonna get to you. Hold on a minute. We got some pretty good stuff going on right now. And I like the way this show is vibing, so I don't want to mess up the vibe. You got Anthony Price saying, "I don't think they believe in Winston because they paid Hill." Well, you know what? Yeah, they paid Hill.
It was loyalty, man.
But the way they structured his contract is if he's a quarterback, you get X. If you're the wide receiver, you get X. If you're the running back, you get X. So there's no real true pay for what he got because they're paying him for whatever position he primarily occupies. Number one. Number two, you really can't pay Winston just quite yet because you don't really know exactly what you got in Winston because you haven't seen a full year. So let's just back the train up on should we pay Hill, should we pay Winston because we don't know what we have in Winston, but we know we got in Hill. And if nothing else that matters, we have geared his salary for whatever position we decide to put him in, and that tier would be honored. So you really can't. Taysom Hill is a very weird animal. It's a very weird animal.
The real question, instead of asking, should we pay Hill and Winston, the question should be asked, should we keep Hill and Winston? I think Hill is a very good piece if you can afford to have him on your team. But with all the different holes that we have and needs that we don't have a need for Hill. So we can let him walk or we can trade him or whatever the case may be. Again, if we can afford to keep him, not from a financial standpoint, but from a value standpoint, right? Keep him, but we really can't right now. So,
and of course, he's not a legit quarterback. He's a gadget guy. That's why they paid him the way they paid him because it depends on what position he plays primarily as to what compensation he gets.
Now I will say this. My last point on Hill, Jay. My last point on Hill. I did feel bad for the guy because I watched him in college. He went to BYU, right? He tore his ACL, tore up his knee 4 years in a row. So he's had quite the journey to get to where he is, and it's just salute to him and his work ethic. But get out of here, Hill. We don't need you.
Oh, by the way, Gridiron Yuki said, "Hey, 49ers are better than the Saints. That's why they're in the playoffs." But hey, listen, hey, you can't. You don't know what the Saints are going to do until we see more from Winston. But anyway, next question would be, and I only got three left, and then we're going to get these predictions. And these are short questions. Who will have the better running game, Mixon or Cam Akers? I think Mixon's going to have one hell of a game, to be honest with you. I see Mixon. Who do you got?
It's tough. You have healthy Mixon, and you have Cam Akers coming off an injury. You have bad O-line. You have decent O-line. So it's tough. You can go either way, but I'm going Mixon.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Mixon as well. And my next one is, can the Bengals or will the Bengals how will the Bengals deal with Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp? And I think we kind of already answered that with I know you already kind of touched on the Bengals, and I think on the Cooper Kupp situation, would the Cooper Kupp situation be almost the same as the Bengals with Jamar Chase?
They're going to have to play some man. They're going to have to scheme very well, right? But when it comes down to is, as good as OBJ has been, Stanford has definitely had some misfires trying to force feed him the ball. So I would just say be careful, Rams, because one of those force-fed passes to OBJ could be a pick six, right? And Eli Apple has come out and said, "I'm guarding my boy OBJ." So it's going to be an exciting matchup, man. It's going to be an exciting matchup for sure.
Oh, by the way, Phil, I think Kamara may have done you a service doing what he did out there in Vegas, because if the NFL, depending on how they handle the whole Kamara situation, could very well take some cap space off of you guys, depending on what they do with Kamara. It's going to be very interesting to see how that whole situation plays out. Kamara, if you're listening, what the hell were you thinking, guy? I don't care if he calls your girlfriend ugly or not. You got way too much to lose on some guy. That's ridiculous to me. Phil, you can address that if you would like.
Again, I don't know too much about the situation to speak on it intelligently, but regardless of who was in the right and who was wrong, as an athlete, as a public figure, you have a target on your back no matter what. So,
yeah,
it's about being smarter, man, and about surrounding yourself with the right people.
And I agree totally with you. Last question, and then we're going to get on to the predictions. Is this a make or break for Stafford, Phil? If Stafford doesn't get the Super Bowl, is it a make or break for him, or do you think that, hey, look, just because we didn't get it this year, this team is, I guess, still young enough and still should be able to keep themselves together financially enough that if we don't get it this year, hey, we got next year. What do you think? Is it make or break?
I'm not sure how many more years he plans on playing, but he has dealt with a myriad of injuries throughout his career, to include a broken collarbone. But this Super Bowl right here, Super Bowl 56, it's his best chance of winning, right? There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Lamar Jackson, no Tom Brady, no Russell Wilson, no Aaron Rodgers, no Drew Brees. You're going up against Joe Burrow. And while he has a potential to be the next Tom Brady, he's still young and he's still learning, right? I don't see him having a greater chance to win one than he has right now. He's going up against a Bengals team, or once again, a very horrible O-line. Stafford should be salivating at the mouth right now, right? Donald should be salivating at the mouth right now. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. And here's the deal. You know, if with Matt Stafford, I still think he's young enough that I feel like even if he doesn't get it this year, I really believe, okay, let's say Matt Stafford does not win it this year. I still think that he has answered the biggest questions about his critics have had with him was can he overcome the big situations? And let me tell you something. He did against I don't know, but look, he went up against Brady, and that was a pretty damn big situation, and he answered that situation pretty well.
On paper, he has probably one of the best rosters on paper in the entire NFL. I should be able to take any quarterback and put him on that roster and get to where he's at, i.e. Jared Goff, right? I'm going to show you a true quarterback. Peyton Manning, who started off on a horrible Colts franchise, right? He elevated that team around him. That's what great quarterbacks do. Now, again, Matthew Stafford had some horrible coaching, right? He didn't always have playmakers to complement him and Megatron. But when has he ever elevated the talent around him, man? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not a very good quarterback, but he has never elevated his team into winning stature. So, yeah, I see the comment section like, oh, no, this is not his last chance. Well, yes, he may be young still, but the rest of the league is younger, right? He's still competing with Patrick Mahomes. He's still competing with Josh Allen. He's still competing with Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Josh Herbert, all these studs who are just as talented as he is at this point in his career. So, could he make it back?
Hey, sure. Phil, you got old Gridiron Yuki who was praising you earlier. Now saying, hey, are you crazy? Goff? Are we really talking about Goff leading us to the Super Bowl? Well, he did, though, Phil. Goff did lead them to a Super Bowl. He didn't win, but he got him to a Super Bowl.
That's all I'm saying.
No, he's not crazy. I mean, Phil, you're not crazy because Goff did get him to a Super Bowl. He didn't win it. He got him there.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and keep busting his tail. But you have all these number one pick quarterbacks coming to the league with all this hype, and they get all this comfort because they're on these bad franchises. But dang it, do your job, bro. You're a number one overall pick for a reason. Go out there and make your tight ends better, make your receivers better, make your O-line better. Do something, man. Do something.
Real quick, Phil. So let me tell you something real quick. So Vegas, Caesar's Palace specifically, Caesar's sport betting books, has got the Rams, and I think it's by plus 173 if I'm not mistaken, but they got the Rams as the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So Caesar's is betting on the Rams. Mattress Mac, if you don't know who Mattress Mac is, and most people probably wouldn't, he is a furniture retailer in Houston. Matter of fact, he is the biggest furniture retailer in Houston. His actual name is Jim McInville. This guy's got probably 60, 70. I mean, he's got all kinds of them. He's just crazy. But anyway, the guy's like 71 years old. 71. He's old as dirt, but he is very, very active in the sporting industry. And he bet, I think it was $4.9 million on the Bengals beating the Chiefs. And of course, he won that $4.9 million. I think it ballooned up to like $9 million. I think it was his winnings. He has now put down $5 million on the Bengals beating the Rams, Phil. That's a lot of cabbage on the Bengals taking on the mighty Rams. And then, of course, the Bengals are the underdog. And if Mattress Mac pulls out the Bengals over the Rams, that's a lot of cheddar. A lot of cheddar. Matter of fact, I think that's actually the biggest. That's the largest bet that's ever been placed on a sporting bet this year or last year, I believe.
Well, look, if he wins that bet, I'm gonna be giving that guy a call because I bet $50 on the Bengals, and my pockets are already screaming at him right now. So, hey, I hope
all right. We have now come to the part of this show where we're going to lay down our predictions, and as you heard earlier, Phil basically said that he believes the MVP will be the quarterback of the winning team. So he's basically going to tell you who his quarterback is for MVP and who his prediction is to win the game in one foul swoop. Who you got?
My MVP. This is my rational answer. This is not what I believe in my heart of hearts. This is my rational answer. My MVP is Matthew Stafford, and I got the Rams winning. Now, in my heart of hearts, I just believe that man, Joey Cool's going to pull a rabbit out of his hat. We're going to evade one too many sacks and throw a touchdown pass to Jamar Chase and win it all. That's what I want to happen. But again, I have zero faith in that O-line.
John Suggs says that Drake put money on the Rams, so now they're under the Drake curse, so the Bengals are going to win now. Hey, Drake might have done Joe Burrow a favor. I don't know. What do you think, Phil? Do you believe in those curses?
Hey, look, Drake, he must have put a curse on my Lakers because we can't win a game for nothing, man. So Drake, stay at home wherever you at. Stay off the internet. Stop making bets. Stay at home.
Wow, Gridiron Yuki, come on, man, be nice. I understand Jimmy G has more playoff wins than the Cowboys. You ain't got to go there, Gridiron. Why everybody got to bring the Cowboys, Phil? Why they always got to bring the Cowboys in the conversation when we're talking about the Rams and the Bengals? What is that, Phil?
Because Jerry Jones can't get out of his own freaking way, man.
Man, I'm telling you. Listen, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm bringing Brian Flores in as of yesterday, and I done gave McCarthy his walking papers. That's just me, though. And Damian Hernandez says, Yuki, Jimmy G is not a quarterback. Woo, Phil. I don't know, man. What do you think about Jimmy G? Is he a quarterback? Is he not a quarterback? And let's be honest, Big Phil. He's probably going to get traded. So I want to know 2 questions from you, Phil, before we get predictions. This is the last question we're going to do, and we're giving predictions. Do you think Jimmy G's a quarterback? And if so, who do you think he gets traded to? I got Pittsburgh Steelers. Who you got?
I said this in my admin meeting, but I'm going to say it here live on Unscripted on the air. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, Jimmy the man is going to be traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to replace that bad man Tom Brady. And Tampa Bay is still not going to win a single game. No, I'm just joking. He's going to Tampa Bay. I see it right here. He's going to Tampa Bay. As far as is he a real quarterback? To me, man, it's all about scheme, right? It's all about scheme. It's all about the perfect situation, you know? I think Tampa Bay is the perfect situation for him.
All right. So you got Phil's prediction on who's going to win and who's going to be the MVP. Big Phil has picked the Rams, and he has picked Matt Stafford as his MVP. We're now going to hear from Logan and Frankie, and then I'm going to go last with my prediction. Here is Logan and Frankie predictions. Frankie's going to go first, and then Logan's going to give his last, and then here we go. So here's the predictions.
What's going on, everybody? Frank C here. I'm driving right now at the moment, as you can tell. Sorry I couldn't be here tonight on Unscripted. I'll be back when I can be back. I gotta take some time off, but I just want to give an update on my Super Bowl predictions. That's what we're supposed to do tonight on Unscripted. Give our Super Bowl predictions for tomorrow night against the Cincinnati Bengals and the LA Rams. And I'm as an AFC guy with the New England Patriots. I always pick the AFC to go for the Super Bowl, but because the LA Rams are looking hot, I don't know, it's gonna be difficult. But the hell with it, I'm gonna stick with the AFC. I'm gonna go with the underdogs. I'm gonna go with the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. I feel like they're gonna have a strong feeling of winning this Super Bowl. I mean, they did it in LSU when they won the national championship. They could do it again together in the Super Bowl. It's gonna be amazing. I feel sorry for Matthew Stafford and that Rams defense, man. They're red hot. Cooper Kupp here on fire this year as a wide receiver. But I don't know. Something inside me tells me that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals got this. I said it against the Chiefs. As long as that offensive line can hold up good, then I'm going to tell you, son, Joe Burrow's going to win. But if that offensive line is going to show up like they did against the Tennessee Titans and get more than 10 sacks or something like that, this is easily going to go to I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. Final score of 24-16.
Going on, it's Logan from Unscripted. I won't be at the show tonight because, as you can see by my nice-looking button up here, right, the nice attire, I'm headed out to a birthday dinner in a little bit. So I'm not going to be on the show, but I am here to give you my predictions for Super Bowl 56, the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, look, I know the Rams are for whatever reason, designated as the road team, even though they're playing in their home stadium. But they're going to have the clear favorite when it comes to crowd, right? We're going to have everyone hyping them up, ready to get those big plays. The amazing quarterback battle we're going to have between Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, I think is going to be electric. The top-notch defenses from both squads, right? I can't see Von Bell, Von Miller, right? Both of them looking good. We're going to see who's going to get torched. Is Jalen Ramsey going to come up with a pick? We'll see. Aaron Donald, how many sacks is he going to get against that? Somewhat iffy, right? Because the Bengals O-line can be good. We've seen it against the Chiefs. But could we also get a repeat against the Titans where he was sacked? Joe Burrow, that being 9 times throughout the game. Overall, look, throughout these playoffs, I'm not gonna shy away from it. I have doubted the Bengals. I thought they might get that first win, but they have proven me wrong each and every time, and I just can't continue to doubt them. So my final prediction for Super Bowl 56, I have the Cincinnati Bengals getting the win in this one, 28-21, just a one-touchdown ball game. I think Joe Burrow will be the MVP of the Super Bowl also, so watch out as we have a big game and join some greats in college football, in the NFL, guys who've won Heismans and then won Super Bowls. I think Joe Burrow is going to etch his name in the history books, and we'll see when that statue is going to be resurrected there in Cincinnati, and he will give them the first Super Bowl title of the Bengals franchise. I'll be back on Tuesday for more Unscripted. But guys, enjoy Super Bowl, be safe, and let's go Bengals. See you soon.
All right. So we got two guys for the Rams, or excuse me, two guys for the Bengals, and you got Phil for the Rams. And here's my problem to it. This is my conundrum. And I'm going to make it now. I'm just going to choose. I'm going to do it. I love Matt Stafford. I love the storyline of Matt Stafford. I just do, man. I love that he's, he is gone from the pits of hell in Detroit to becoming the quarterback of the Rams. And yes, Phil, you're right. A lot of people could do it, but Matt Stafford has done it in a way that most people probably could not. He's got the big wins. He's got to the big moments. He's done what people said he couldn't do, and he's here. But I also just can't deny the sexiness, the sexy appeal of a Joe Burrow. That hooday, hooday, hooday. Which, by the way, you're a freaking ripoff of Louisiana's who dat, who dat, who dat. So, hey, Ohio, go get your own damn freaking thing, man. But that's okay, Ohio. We love you. We love Ohio. Jim Carrey is from there. So, hey, it is what it is. But hey, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. I'm so freaking hard because you know what? I grew up on this Bengals team. I was a Houston Oilers fan for a long period of time. I've always been a Cowboys fan, but whenever the Oilers, my parents were Oilers fans, and my parents would root for the Oilers, and I knew my Cowboys weren't in it, then I would get behind them and I would root for the Oilers. And I saw the Oilers go up against the Cincinnati Bengals time and time again in the AFC showdown. And of course, the Bengals, or not the AFC, it was a divisional round. I apologize. And the divisional round, and the Bengals would always go beyond the Icky Woods, and they would always go beyond. I want to see Cincinnati get their first championship. I think they don't have one. I want to see that town just have some attitude. And how good does it look on LSU for the Who Dat Nation to win their Super Bowl and his rookie? I mean, is there anything that freaking Joe Cool can't do? I don't think so. And I think, Phil, that if Joe Burrow wins this Super Bowl, I don't care what anybody says, the boy's got Brady-like attributes. He does. He exudes Brady-like attributes like nobody's business. And I think that Burrow, if he gets the Super Bowl, is on a trajectory, okay, it is what it is, to becoming the accolades of a Brady. I'm not saying he's going to get there, but because we all know injuries can take you out. But at the current way he's going, if he continues to play the way he's playing, man, I'm telling you, his trajectory looks just like a Brady-esque trajectory. It's crazy. But having said that, I'm going to use my logical thinking, not what I want to see happen, because what my heart wants to see Joe Burrow capture the Super Bowl. But my logical thinking says if I'm putting money on a team to win, I'm going to put it on the Rams. And so therefore, I'm picking the Rams, and I'm just going to stick with it. And I hate it. Because I want Burrow to win it so bad. And you know what? This is the first time in my life that I've ever said the Rams are going to win, but I hope I get burned and the Cincinnati Bengals win. So I don't know, Phil. I'm still in a conundrum, but I'm picking the Rams. I'm picking the Rams, and I'm going to stick with it.
I'm in the same boat. I want the Bengals to win, and I'm hoping that they do win. But I want to put on my analyst cap, right? I want to put on my researcher's cap and say that I'm making the right choice to validate my place in the journey.
What's going on, everybody?
I'm going Rams.
Frank C here.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Diver.
Okay. I'm sorry, Phil. Continue.
Nope. I'm saying I want the Bengals to win, but like you said, I'm going Rams.
Technical difficulties, Phil. It's so hard to go right these damn slides. Hey, here we go. On to the next one. Listen. This would not be unscripted if we did not have a couple of technical difficulties. That's what we based our show on. That's why I called this show Unscripted, because, frankly, folks, you get everything live. There's no scripts. We don't go off things. It's just impromptuveness, and we just enjoy the vibe. Honors. All right, Phil, here's the deal. I'm going to give you some awards here, and there's only one that I really find controversial. The rest of them I pretty much agree with. And if you don't agree with any of these, Phil, of course, please, tell me the ones you don't agree with. The one I find disturbing to me is the MVP, but I'm going to save that for last. Defensive Player of the Year was T.J. Watt. I don't have a problem with that. The man damn near he tied the sack record. I don't know how. If you're tied the sack record, I don't know how you don't get Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care how good Aaron Donald is playing. Records speak for themselves. So Defensive Player of the Year is T.J. Watt, which I'm perfectly fine with. Offensive Player of the Year was Cooper Kupp. Again, I'm perfectly fine with that because he came, I think, 20 or 30 yards from breaking a single-season receiving record. So I don't know how you don't give it to him. Offensive Rookie, Jamar Chase. Again, the guy had a 200-yard game, has had multiple great games with Joe Burrow at his side. I don't know how you don't give it to Jamar Chase. I agree with that. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons. Look, if you know anything about Micah Parsons, he had 13 sacks and almost 100 tackles, solo tackles. He's involved in every single play that Dallas has ever been a part of, and he's all over the place. And he's just doing a phenomenal job as a rookie. And I don't have a problem with Micah Parsons getting the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Here's where I have a problem. Now there's two places I have a problem. One is Coach of the Year. They gave it to Mike Vrabel of Tennessee. I don't agree with that. I think it should have been Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor of the Bengals should have gotten that award. Look what he's done with Joe Burrow. Look what he's done with the Bengals. How do you not give it to Zach freaking Taylor? It doesn't make no damn sense to me. But anyway, I get it's a regular season award. It's not a playoff award, so it is what it is. But I still think that Zach Taylor should have gotten Coach of the Year. I'm gonna say that. Comeback Player of the Year, there's no way. Look, Dak Prescott, he did a hell of a job coming back. No doubt about it. I mean, the guy's freaking great coming back from what he came back from. But if you don't think that Joe Burrow, who tore every damn ligament in his knee, not an ankle, a knee, in his rookie year and becomes in a Super Bowl? Okay. You must be watching a different game of football than I'm watching. Walter Payton Award, again, Man of the Year, Andrew Whitworth. If you know anything about Andrew Whitworth, this guy gives 110% of everything he has, so much to the point that he even rehabbed and got Joe Burrow through his rehab. Him and Joe Burrow rehabbed together. Joe Burrow sought him out. He said, okay, and they rehabbed together. And the way you can see where Joe Burrow turned out. And also you can see where Whitworth turned out because they're both in the freaking Super Bowl.
And guess what? Fun fact, Andrew Whitworth went to LSU, by the way.
Hey, listen, go Tigers. I got you, bro. And I'm not even a Tigers fan, but I get it. Great things come out of LSU. I used to call them Last State University. I guess I should put some respect on the name and call them Louisiana State University. And I'm going to do that, Phil. I'm going to stop calling them Last State University. You're never going to hear that word out of me ever again. I'm going to give them the respect that they deserve, and I'm going to call them the LSU Mighty Freaking Tigers. I'm going to say that on air. Okay. Having said that, the last thing I want to point out is the MVP, Aaron Rodgers. Now, listen, guys. This is where I have a hard time understanding things. Your boy, Joe Burrow, came out and said that he is trying to become better than Aaron Rodgers because he thinks Aaron Rodgers is just the best thing since sliced bread. Okay, Joe Burrow. If that's what you're trying to become better than, you're not really setting your bar too damn high. I probably would have, if I was going to chase after anybody, I'm chasing after freaking Tom Brady. I want them 7 championships. I want them accolades that you've shown. He's shown that you've shown attributes of. I would align yourself with that. I don't know if I align myself with a regular season guy who is a regular season guy, not a postseason guy. He got it one time. I'm not going to take that away from him. He did get it one time. But let's be honest, if Matt Stafford gets it one time, or if Joe Burrow gets it one time, you've already tied Tom Brady. Excuse me. I apologize. I don't know why I'm saying Tom Brady. You've already tied Aaron Rodgers. So if that's your benchmark, you need to research a new benchmark. So here's the deal. Rodgers wins 1 Super Bowl and gets 4 MVPs. Drew Brees, your boy, gets a Super Bowl and gets this many MVPs. Now, if you don't see the problem in this equation, I need to refer you to Pre-Algebra 101. You know the one you take before you can go to college algebra? I need to put you back in that class because you obviously don't watch football to make that observation. Big Phil, give me your opinion on the guys that who you have issues with.
Well, first off, I think the awards should be presented at the completion of the season to include the Super Bowl. Because I do believe that the playoffs and Super Bowl should be counted towards this award. Like, how can you be the MVP of the league if you're not playing for a Super Bowl ring? Granted, the person who won it may be better than the quarterbacks or who were in the game, but the MVP should be a team. It should have some team merit to it. So, as great as Aaron Rodgers' statistical regular season was, is his team playing for a championship? No. So to me, that matters to me, right? As a voter, that would matter to me. But outside of that, I really had no problems, right? Aaron Rodgers, right? Team went 13-4, number 1 in the NFC, had the best touchdown interception ratio with 37 TDs, 4 interceptions. He had a phenomenal year. But to me, like I think I said the last episode, matter of fact, right? Give me a quarterback with 2,000 passing yards, 20 TDs, and a Super Bowl ring, as opposed to a quarterback with 5,000 yards passing, 50 TDs, and no playoff, right? I don't want that guy. I don't want the regular season stat guy. He's cute, right? Might whisper something good to my ear, but I ain't taking him home. You feel me? I don't want that guy. Offensive player of the year, Cooper Kupp, he definitely deserved it. He's one of 4 players to win a triple crown with receiving yards, touchdowns, and catches. So, phenomenal guy. Had over 145 catches, almost 2,000 yards receiving, 16 touchdowns, led the league. Who do you give that to? Defensive player of the year, again, who was the greatest defensive player in the NFL this year? I'll say Aaron Donald. But who won the defensive player of the year? You got to give it to TJ Watt. As an edge defender, as a linebacker, he had 22.5 sacks. Tied to Michael Strahan's record. Could have had one more, you know? So it's just tough grading these guys because you want to give so many guys the benefit of the doubt, but it's like there's only one award, right? Jamar Chase, this one was tough. Well, not really. Mac Jones had a good year, but Jamar Chase had 81 catches, almost 1,500 yards as a rookie. That's phenomenal. Broke Justin Jefferson's record, who, by the way, went to LSU. Look at that. We're just busting out wide receivers, right? Defensive rookie of the year, Micah Parsons. Yeah, he deserved that. He stole the show by 85 tackles, 64 solo tackles, 13.5 sacks, 13 sacks. He's gonna be a monster. Look out for him as far as leader of the new school on the defensive side of the field. So I really have no qualms. Oh, well, I guess coach of the year, like you said, I get it. Tennessee had a bunch of issues as far as injuries, and he did a good job maintaining that. But what is the criteria for coach of the year? Shouldn't it be the coach with the greatest record? Right? I mean,
I agree. No, I agree. Absolutely. And it's a shame, just like everything else in life, it's a shame that it stops at the regular season and doesn't include the postseason. Just because, like, you know, I mean, okay, great. You did great for the regular. Nobody gives a damn about the regular freaking season. Nobody. You know why? Because if you don't make it to the Super Bowl, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Listen, last time, and Phil, tell me if I'm wrong. Last time I checked, the plaque for the alternates, it's in the ladies' room. It's in the freaking ladies' room. I don't understand it. What do you think, Phil? Am I just wrong in saying that?
Not at all. What's going on, Logan? And he's gone again.
Oh, no. I didn't realize you clicked it, man. You must have the same powers that I have.
I do not, Jay. This is all on you, brother.
Hey, here's Logan Lander. Did I click him out? Phil, click him back in. I don't know what I did.
Jay, I'm in here. I'm in the show right now.
Okay.
Best producer in the business right here, fellas.
Logan must have had a quick dinner.
Hey, look, Jay, we had dinner, 5 or 6, right? Went back for a little bit, just hung out, had some really good food. About a 45-minute drive back. I come back, I get in the driveway. I'm like, let me see how the show's going. Like, we are an hour in and on topic number 2. I'm like, oh, wow.
Listen, you don't understand the vibe of this show. I thought
you started late.
Bro, you don't understand the vibe of this show. The vibe of this show has been it's been really freaking awesome.
I can tell, man, you've been getting a ton of comments today. I don't know if you got the magic power or what's going on, brother. But hey,
I don't know, but everybody's been commenting the hell out of this show. And I don't know about Phil, but I feel pretty awesome. Like this show's been great, man. And me and Phil and Gridiron Yuki and Frankie and Logan and Damian Hernandez and John Suggs and everybody else in between. I mean, we're just having a hell of a good time right now talking about this. Listen, tomorrow's the damn Super Bowl. How do you not get excited right now?
It's a great pre-Super Bowl show. Our first one, I think. So I
think it is our first one.
No, I think we had one last year, so it's our first one. So it's got to be great. But man, y'all been doing good though.
Hey, real quick now, Logan, hold on now. You did come in the party about half an hour late. I got to go to Phil real quick, and I need to get Phil's objections. If he has objections to who got what. Do you have an objection to the MVP? Do you have an objection to the coach of the year? Phil, I just read off who got what awards. Who do you have objections to?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, the only objection that I could possibly have would be coach of the year. And maybe I'm not just fully understanding the criteria for that award, but Zach Taylor could have won it. Sean McVay could have won it. Shoot. The Packers coach could have won it with Eric. I mean, there's so many other coaches who could have won it, but Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel's won it.
My point with the whole Zach Taylor and my issue with the whole Zach Taylor thing is the fact that the Bengals were nothing. They were like 4-11 last year, and this team is 3/4 built by him. The Bengals are 3/4 built by Zach Taylor, and they went from 4-11 and basically in the dumpster fire to in a Super Bowl. I don't know how does he not get that? My mind is blown. I get it. Okay, I get it. It's record based. I know Pride has talked about this on ASAP about you have to look at the record. You can't look at this. You can't look at that. But I can't help but look at the intangibles when I look at the awards. And the intangibles mean so much more to me than the stat line, to be honest with you. And the intangible is that this team is 3/4 built by him. And they're in the Super Bowl, regular season or not. How does he not get that?
Yeah.
It's crazy, don't you think? I mean, Logan, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I personally didn't have a big gripe with it being variable because, like you said, they don't take the playoffs into account. If they did, of course, I would have given it to Taylor. But let's not forget, I said variable because of the amount of injuries he had to deal with this year on this Titans team. And don't get me wrong, like I heard Phil say something about the win, whoever has the most wins matter most. Well, the Titans had a first round bye. Let's not forget, they were a top seed in the AFC, and they did it with over 80 plus players being on the field. I mean, they had injuries every single week. Derrick Henry's out for a multitude of weeks, and they still did fine. That's their best player. They had so many changes on the offensive line, defensive line, and for them to still maintain and get a bye into the playoffs, I could definitely understand. I agree with them going with Vrabel, and then I'm sure Taylor had to have been at least second. If he wasn't, then that was a shame.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, and hey, listen, I didn't mean to not. We've been talking a lot about I'm going to go back to our previous comment that says I wasn't giving, I guess, the Georgia Bulldogs some love for winning the national championship. It's not that I'm not giving them love. I give them love. This is the first time that I haven't listened to Roll Tide from a bunch of a-holes. So I love the fact that Georgia won the national championship because I don't have to hear Roll Tide for a long period of time. So shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs. Shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs. Mm-hmm. Shout out. You guys are awesome. We were just on the LSU vibe for a minute. We were talking about LSU.
Now we're going to GA. John said, okay, John, thank you, John. I've always had a soft spot for you, John. Thank you. Meanwhile, Gridiron Yuki got what they do in the playoffs. It don't matter what they did in the playoffs. This is a regular season award. That's what it is. That's how it's always been. I get they got knocked. I'm not a Titans fan. I don't care if they get knocked out the first round. I'm just spitting facts.
This show could go down so many rabbit holes. I've got to ask that question. Phil, I need to know this question because I think personally, I don't think we quite kicked Tannehill to the door. I think he had a rough game. I get that.
I wouldn't. I'm
not going to kick Tannehill to the door just yet. Do we kick Tannehill to the door, Logan? As well. Do we kick Tannehill to the door?
Not yet. I mean, I still think they got a good window to advance in the playoffs, do good. I think that if you get maybe a repeat of this year, then you might look towards it. But I mean, the free agency market isn't strong for quarterbacks. The draft isn't the strongest either. The Titans are going to have a later pick. It's not in the cards. I would still go with the veteran any day of the week.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, Logan. You only get rid of your quarterback for one or two options. One, if you can't sling the ball no more, or two, you got a better option. And like Logan said, the draft is pretty horrible this year with Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral. None of those guys inspire confidence in me. And then you got free agency. Which elite quarterbacks are really on the market? Deshaun may be on the market. Aaron Rodgers may be on the market. But are either one of those going to Tennessee? Exactly.
No. He's going to retire before he goes to Tennessee, I bet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, we will transition. We do have to move this show along, and I do want to I want to go through. I don't want to go through a speed round on this topic.
We're keeping this under 2 hours, Jay.
I know. Listen, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But God, it's Phil's fault. It's not my fault.
Thank you for that.
It was all Phil. Listen, but I want to spend a little bit of time on here, and then we'll do a speed round the rest of the way through.
Right,
but
cool.
this topic, you can't do a speed round through. You just can't.
No.
Here's the deal, Phil. I'm going to give you a list of coaches that have not been hired that are African-American. And then I'm going to give you a list of coaches that were hired that were Caucasian or European-American, however you prefer to be referred as. Here we go. The coach is not hired. Jim Caldwell, Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, Brian Flores, Pete Martin, Raheem Morris, and Dan Culley. Just on the short list. On the short list. That's seven coaches on the short list. Okay. Now, the ones that have been hired. Eberflus, Hackett, Dennis Allen, Josh McDaniel. Those are probably what I would say the four controversial ones. You can say Dable, but Dable is not exactly controversial. I do think that Dable was hired at the wrong spot. I think Dable probably would have been better being hired by Chicago because of the fact that I believe that New York is in a rebuild mode. And I think there are quite a few other coaches out there that are better at the rebuild thing than he is. Jim Caldwell for one, Brian Flores for two. If you don't believe that, look at Detroit, look at Miami, and look where they've done. Or look where they were and look where they've come from. So, as a matter of fact, I will even tell you that I believe that Brian Flores got Mark Jackson. If you're familiar with the Golden State situation, what's his name? What's that dude? Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr inherited a Mark Jackson lineup. And, of course, as you know, you can see where Golden State Warriors are now because of that lineup that Mark Jackson built. So, in my opinion, I think that Brian Flores got Mark Jackson amongst any other things. Okay, so those are the four that got the jobs. And I think you can make an argument for Leftwich, Bieniemy, Flores, Raheem Morris for sure, Dan Culley for sure. What do you think about that, Phil? I'm gonna let you start off, and then Logan, I'll let you finish it up.
Cool. Okay, so my answer is pretty straight cut, right? I'm not gonna get too much into the political side of things because we've discussed that ad nauseum over the last few weeks, right? The NFL coaching hiring practice is a complete joke. The Rooney Rule is a complete joke, and we need change, point blank, period, right? So now go to my bigger problem. Out of all the coaches that were hired, how many of them are proven winners with a proven track record? How many of those coaches are first-time coaches? How many of those coaches are first-time coaches with no experience leading an organization at all, right? Now look at the coaches that left on the market. That's where my problem comes, right? Like the NFL, they're content with sitting in mediocrity, right? They take one coach, he loses 12 games. Oh, he's a good coach. Let me hire him over here. And do this whole merry-go-round of hiring the same lame duck coaches for each organization, right? To me, there's only really 2 or 3 viable coaching options that should have been considered for most of these jobs. Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, and Raheem Morris, or is it Morris or Morstead? I think it's Morris, right?
Raheem Morris.
two of those coaches, and Bieniemy and Leftwich, have never been head coaches, but they have proven offensive coordinator track records. And I believe Raheem Morris has been a head coach before.
Yeah, he was with the Falcons.
With the Falcons, thank you. So it's just right. Do you want to win or not? That's what it comes down to, right? If you don't want to win, just say that and keep on high within the good old boy system, or right, let's get some diversity and hire some coaches that can win and that can improve your organization, man.
I don't agree. Logan, what's your opinion on what we've been discussing?
Yeah. I mean, also, let's not forget Mike McDaniel, right? New coach for the Dolphins. He's been getting a lot of ridicule either. I mean, he just stepped in for Brian Flores, and, he's a first-time head coach. He's young. Everyone, he's actually got personality, unlike all the other 30 coaches in the league. And it's a nice breath of fresh air. But, man, how, like Phil said, man, if Eric Bieniemy does not, especially Bieniemy for me, if he doesn't get hired anywhere this offseason, something is wrong. Because let's not forget, everyone, last year, everyone looked at him as a top candidate to go somewhere else, and he did not get an offer. He didn't go anywhere. And now that we saw, I think, up to 9 positions were up for hire, I mean, I still haven't seen anything linking him to anywhere. So, I mean, we got Lovie Smith up on the board. That just, me and Jay discussed it, felt kind of just like came out of nowhere. And I mean, obviously, the Raiders got the head coach over from the Pats. I'm cool with that. Obviously, that's my team, so we'll see how he does. But it's crazy. There's been a lot of head coaches. Who the Vikings hired? Does anyone know?
O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell, I think it was from the Rams.
Right. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that sounds right. So,
man,
I mean, Kevin O'Connell from the Rams. They just haven't made it official yet.
Half of these guys, man.
Right, a lot of them.
Half of these guys.
And let's not get it twisted, right? We've seen more so now than ever that teams are hiring specifically offensive-minded coordinators, because that's how the league is progressing, as a more offensive-minded league. So it is what it is, right? Everyone has to start somewhere, no doubt, but it just feels like more so now that we're getting a whole lot of first-time head coaches. And will some of them be good? I'm sure. But will the majority of them probably be rough? I mean, you're right. And also, just go back to what you said, Jay, about Dan Culley. He got the short end of the stick on that. The Texans suck. They have no one on their team. And now Lovie Smith is going to inherit the same thing now, too, pretty much. So, I mean, that's just the Texans organization more than Dan Culley, who I felt got unfairly, he got screwed over pretty much. Also, yes, sir, Gridiron. You can see my U.S. flag of the Raiders in the back there. You got to represent it. Always got a good background.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing, Logan, on this. Honestly, I think Eberflus, I'm not trying to knock on him. He did a good job. I just feel like Dable would have done a little bit. I just feel like Dable could have – he developed Josh Allen, and I think he could have developed Justin Fields the same way. And I think for Chicago, I think Dable would have been a good choice there. I think Brian Flores, because of his experience, or Caldwell, either one, honestly, depending on how well they interviewed, could have built up the New York Giants just as well, because they're in a rebuild as well. Dennis Allen
was a good coach in his last few years. He was a good coach.
Exactly. And I think Brian Flores – hey, watch it. I think Brian Flores with Winston and his ability in a rebuild, let's be honest. You guys might not realize this, but New Orleans is very much in the middle of a dumpster fire waiting to happen in great cap room. They are. I'm sorry. They just are. Winston is a keeper. Thomas, probably Kamara. Maybe one other one.
I don't know about Kamara now, Jay. I don't know about Kamara anymore now. He might be out.
I know, and that's what we're talking about. I don't know about him either. But they have a couple of key points.
Yeah.
Here's a key point, and I'll be done with this topic, right? For all we know, Brian Flores, if he were to get hired, he could completely bomb, right? He could be the wrong choice. But what we're saying is you fired a head coach in an organization that wasn't winning, and he had 2 winning records. He had a winning record this season, right?
Yep.
All we're saying is give these winning coaches a chance, right? Black, white, Hispanic. I can tell you right now, I don't care the skin color, right? Give the winning coach a chance. Stop hiring the same lame duck mediocre coaches for these organizations, right? I mean, if you care about winning, but clearly you don't,
Yep.
No, what I don't like is the Houston Texans firing Dan Culley.
Right.
Just after he got 4 wins with honestly a roster that should have got like damn near 0 wins.
Yeah, that was a rough roster.
So you only give him what, 1 year? Are you freaking kidding me? That's ridiculous. Now listen, okay, you can say what you said. Well, Jay, they did bring in Lovie Smith, so we still got a minority hire. You can have a minority hire all you want, but it wasn't the right minority hire. To Phil's point, was it the right minority hire? And I don't think so. And I think if you ask Lovie in his heart knows it was the right hire because he knows Dan Culley was on the right track to building this team, and he was doing a great job as his coordinator. And I don't know if Lovie fully believes he was the right guy for the job because of letting go of Dan Culley. And I think he's always going to be in that shadow. So Lovie's going to have to come out and really do some very impressive things to overcome what David Culley was doing or what David Culley was building. And I think that's ridiculous.
Best of luck.
But yeah, and I think Jim Caldwell, how does Jim Caldwell, what he did with Detroit, what he did with Indianapolis, how does he not have a job right now?
I have no idea, Jay.
I could think of Denver. I could think of your Raiders. I can think of quite a few teams where he was more established. Now, to be honest, Josh McDaniel does not have a winning record as a head coach. We all know his record with Denver was not exactly great. And so he left that position to go back with the Patriots and become a winner again. So there's no saying that Josh McDaniel, who failed his first time out, is going to be a success on his second time out when you got Jim Caldwell, who has had success with the Detroit freaking Lions. Yeah. I'm just saying, and I'm going to regret it.
We'll see.
Okay. Next topic, Coach. Next topic. We're going to go on to how far will the Sixers go with Harden. Okay. I'm going to start this out, and then I'm gonna hit Phil, and then you, Logan. We're going on a speed round at this point. Harden. Hey, guy, listen. When you left Houston, you were in shape. When you got to Brooklyn, you were out of shape, and you had hamstring issues. And Morey, you're an idiot because you know why you're an idiot, Morey? And I believed in Derek Morey. I did until he did this move, and then I lost all respect for him. He was looking to get picks for Ben Simmons, and instead he winds up giving up picks for Ben Simmons. So you tell me how that plus an out-of-shape Harden equals success in Philadelphia, and I'm going to tell you it doesn't. I don't care if Embiid, who is on a freaking holy terror right now, and will get the MVP. I know he will, averaging about 36, 37 points a game. He's going to get it. But is that going to be enough to get these guys over the hump? Hell no. So enjoy what you got. It is what it is, but no, these guys are not going to go deep with Harden. Phil, throw your 2 cents in.
Whew, this one's tough. This is my last topic before I got to head out. But first and foremost, the Philadelphia 76ers organization did a disservice to Ben Simmons. I get it. He couldn't make his free throws in one of the most important games of his career, right? But guess what? He isn't the reason they lost, right? If you go back and watch that series, Ben Simmons, Mr. 3-time All-Defensive Player, shut down Trae Young. His assignment. He did his job, right? He did his job. It's the rest of the team who didn't fulfill their end of the bargain. And then your head coach, your all-star, star teammate, and the general manager throw you under the bus. And they just expect you to slap it off and be like, oh, well, come back. No, man, get out of here. They did Ben Simmons a disservice, and now they're going to see exactly how far they can go without him. Yeah, you got James Harden, but James Harden is unmotivated, right? What kind of guy forces himself out of 2 different franchises in 2 years in a row? He's sitting there playing with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving in the Brooklyn Nets. And yeah, I get it. Kyrie Irving's status is up in the air. Kevin Durant, he's injured right now. But what kind of character does he have, man? I feel bad. Hey, that's what you wanted, Joel Embiid. You're trolling all day long. I hope you guys made a good choice. Now for the Nets, watch out. Because Kevin Durant is coming back after the All-Star break, and he's going to come back hungry. Ben Simmons can play all 5 positions. They got Seth Curry, who's shooting 40% from 3 this year. And he's a career 43% shooter. So you got a flamethrower, you got your defensive stalwarts, and you got Kevin Durant coming back. These boys are about to be trouble. What you think, Logan? These boys are about to be trouble, dude.
I think for the 76ers, right? You got, like you said, Embiid's probably looking like the front runner for MVP. They got good guys like Maxey and Thibault. But I don't know. It's just going to see how Harden and how Embiid can click together. Because let's face it, guys, that's a lot of personality, a lot of ego on one team. Both guys who are ball dominant, right? One's a point guard, shooting guard. The other one is a big guy, is a center. So we'll see how they can match up. But I don't see them going to the finals. I see, I still think they're going to do good. They're going to get the playoffs, obviously. But depending on who they're matched up with, right, I think maybe the first round or the second round. So, I mean, they might get back to the conference finals, but I don't think they're going to get further than that. Pretty much same thing as last year. So that's what I got with them.
John Suggs, I'm about to call you out for your comment, brother. He says Harden's still putting up more numbers than Simmons. They want to win now, not wait till next year for picks. Look, guy, it's not always about how many points per game you can score, right? It's called having a role. Ben Simmons he averages almost 10 assists per game, almost 10 rebounds per game, number one in steals, and he guards 1 through 5. Can Harden guard 1 through 5?
Harden can't guard.
This year, Harden averaging about 22 points, 8 rebounds, about 10 assists. Those are great numbers, but guess what? The Nets are losing. So what does that tell you? Empty stats, right? Ben Simmons is a direct impact on any franchise's winning percentage because of what he can do without the ball in his hands. I don't need Ben Simmons to average 20 points per game if I got Kevin Durant averaging 35 and Kyrie Irving averaging 26. I need Ben Simmons to play great defense, give the ball to my playmakers, and watch out. And that's what he was doing in Philadelphia. Why was Embiid averaging such those monster numbers? Because Ben Simmons kept feeding him. Ben Simmons doesn't just pass the ball. He puts the players into position to be open. He passes his teammates open for great shots. It's a difference, right? I get it. People get all enamored with the numbers. Oh, he's averaging 36 points per game. He's averaging 35 points per game. But is his team winning? Does he contribute to winning? That's the real question.
Good point there, Phil.
I know Big Phil has got to take off. And Phil, thank you for stepping in tonight, man. I appreciate you filling in. And as always, dude, you will come back. You understand you will come back, right?
Hey, look, I'm about to be a regular on Unscripted. Y'all done got me hyped in here tonight.
I'm about to say we're gonna have a new member here, Jay. The way we bring it on Phil.
Hey, that's what we do. We try to bring the hype here, Phil, and you're the perfect hype man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, no, for real, I know you gotta go, brother, but I love you and I appreciate you, brother. And thank you for your service.
Logan.
Appreciate it, Phil.
Logan and Jay, it's been great. Again, I might be back next weekend. Watch out.
Let's do it, man. We'll see you soon, Phil.
And I got